Right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Tooblack. Today, ladies and gentlemen, little boys and little girls, monkey people, you know where they are, filing their paperwork in the magician's court and the other county court. Okay, today we're going to talk about this guy. It's called, it's an old thing, an old talk we used to do 2 or 3 years ago, can't remember when. Thrashing of the Philistines. Alright? Thrashing of the Philistines for Gashua Beberu. Right now we're giving the Beberu a pretty hard time. Yeah, we're lighting the fire in his ass. So Beberu and Ashida Saizi. Alright, so it's Thrashing of the Philistines, and this is series 1, I think. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is just show you how it's being played. It's an old talk, but it's still relevant. So it says this is an essential guide that is designed to assist the people demonstrate individual competency in civil and or criminal proceedings. Alright? So if you know what that means, that's what it means. If you don't know what it means, then you don't know what it means. Alright? So for the little boys and little girls, if you're around 11 years old or 12 years old, this is for you. Okay? It simply means that you can use this information to either bring or defend claims which are of a civil or criminal nature. Yeah. On your sticky ass. Here we go. So it shouldn't be so confusing, right? So what's been done, I think in previous talk we've explained how the criminal get in. Let's do it like this. Just do it briefly. I'll show you. Before I start with the thrashing of the Philistine, in our metaphysical talks, we understand is like that as being the completion. Everything encompassed in there, enveloped in there, and then the completion divides itself into two. Right? So you get your positive and your negative. Right? Now, for the 12-year-olds and 11-year-olds, we're going to use the same example. We're going to say that you have double L, devil's horns. I wish I could do it. Oh, okay, we do this. That makes sense. Go the other way. Right, so you have your legal and your lawful. So you need to understand legal and lawful. Okay? If you don't understand what's legal and what's lawful, you probably don't know what the law is. Right? Lawful refers to lawful matters. That's what lawful is. Legal refers to contracts and agreements. Alright? That's all there is to it. So don't be deceived by all these characters saying they can get you into a legal anything without a contract, right? The contracts are either implied or expressed. So make sure every contract you enter is expressed, it's not implied, right? Now, so I will say before, initially, the entirety of existence revolved around the love emotion or love concept, and this was called amor. All right. Now, and then when the opposite came in, it overturned everything that stands for amor. All right. And these are the characters. So everything that has been taught, has been experienced, ever since these characters came into being, has been a falsehood. Everything. So it means everything we know has to go out the window. It's got to be chucked away and start afresh. That's what most of us have done. Not most of us. Some of us have done. That's why we do the things we do, and we can do them with a certain amount of authority. Right? Because we've overturned this, removed every concept, or at least we know we're consciously trying to remove every concept that was ever put by these people into our brain, into our psyche. Right? Okay? So that's a deception. On this topic of today, we're going to find similarities. So, for instance, we can say this is lawful and this is legal. You need to understand that legal is the antithesis of lawful, right? Legal is antithesis of lawful. So anything legal is contrary to the law. Unless it's by contract, and the contract is valid, expressed. Now, in your development, where you understand that if you're going to live in this world, you're going to have lower energies and high energies, negative emotions and positive emotions. Okay? When you dwell here, this is your base, if you will, and this is your crown. Alright? So you could operate from your base or from your crown. Our basemen, the ones who are used as the bulldogs with the muscle, they operate on the base here. That's why the Masons call them basemen. Because they haven't gone up one rang up the ladder of Jacob, to seek the crown. They haven't done that. Most of them are incapable of doing it because of the conditioning and ego and pride and what will people say. Bullshit. Alright? So once you hit the top, you get your crown. Alright? So we're going to divide the crown into two for the sake of this entertainment show. Alright? So we're going to entertain ourselves with the divisibility of the crown. So once you get to the top, to the crown, in this circumstance, you're going to find it's divided into two crowns. Right? So you're going to find Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth the Second of the House of Windsor, and that being the natural, I don't like that word, but 4 years ago we were still using it. I don't use it very much anymore, except in some very strict content. Right. So the Queen is a woman, not a corporation. the crown refers to the individual. All right? Now, on the other side, you have Her Majesty the Queen as well, in right of England, or in right of whatever province or commonwealth realm you're dealing with. Right? In this particular instance, we are dealing with the crown is the Crown Corporation of the City of London. And for anyone who's interested, it'll be a good idea to try and find out who the shareholders are of that corporation. And good luck if you find anything. Let us know. Okay? So that's number one, right? That's fairly straightforward, little boys and little girls. Okay? So you have divisibility. You got two of everything. So let's say this is lawful. The left is lawful. And the right is legal. Alright? So double L. For those who don't know symbolism, that's double L. LL Cool J. Or 77. Or the horn, the bull horns. You see this a lot of it. You have people know what this means. Well, that's symbolism. There. You see a lot of that. Anywho, we'll carry on. So number two, little boys and little girls. I hope you're taking your notes. So you know how to do business with corporation. A corporation being a corpse. A corpse being a dead body. So you need to know how you're doing business with dead bodies. Alright, how you're dealing with zombies. Okay. So number two. So Her Majesty, the Queen on this side, the lawful side, is the defender of the common law of the land mass. In this instance, the land mass is known as England. Right? So she defends that. She has taken an oath, apparently, supposedly, allegedly, but well, the oath is up now. You can look at it and see where it's signed, whether or not it's valid. It's up to you. If you know anything about contract and contract law, and where you sign it, when you place your signature or your sign, and anything underneath it is not part of the contract, that's irrelevant, little boys and little girls. That's for your daddy and your mummy. Okay? For you, little boy and little girl, all you need to know is that the Queen defends the common law of the land, known as England and Wales. It used to be Scotland also, but I think somebody else has taken over Scotland. I'm not sure. I don't know. Don't quote me on that one. Right. Alternatively, on this side, the legal side, the Crown Corporation of the City of London creates rules, regulations, codices, and statutes, right, for the proper conduct of business. So they create the rules, okay, that govern them when they're dealing with the people. Okay? Now, when you go back to the lawful side, you see that the Queen is there supposedly by the Constitution, I presume, or authority of the Constitution, and she's there to protect the public. Okay? Now, when it comes to rules and regulations, right, there has to be consent. That is why all rules and regulations require consent in one way or another. So you can offer your consent in various ways. For instance, you can join the corporation, this corporation, and become a, I think they call themselves a civil servant, a civilian servant, and then those rules and regulations will apply to you. Oh, you can also be a baseman, and then the rules will apply to you. Okay. Now, here on this side, the lawful side, the proper terminology and what the Roman people have been trying to kill all this time is man and woman with them. They've almost killed the woman, so now they're trying to kill the man. You see, so the queen, who's the defender of the common law, protects the living man or the woman, or the man living, or the woman living on the common law, on the land mass known as England and Wales, right? And how she does that is through someone called a constable, right? So a constable, so a police constable takes an oath that he's going to be, he's going to owe his allegiance to the queen, and he's going to protect the common law of the land, all right? And that's lawful, righty? So that's supposed to be the reality of it. It's far from it, but that's the presumption, because everything operates on presumptions. So we're going to presume that there's somebody called the queen, who personally, I'm not sure whether or not she's a real someone or an actor, but once in a while, on Christmas Eve, I think, or the opening of the Parliament, she'll come and say a few things, and then you never hear from them again. Well, you see them once in a while in the papers. Yeah, so you're going to presume that there is somebody like that for real. You know, they're defending the common law and the Constitution, and they're defending the rights of the man and the woman, of the people who live on the land known as England and Wales, by imposing the law through the constables. Right? So you're going to presume that. Cool. Move on to the legal side. Now, these characters who make all these rules and regulation, they require your consent. They're acting in the private, okay, but purporting to be public. If they were public, you'd know who the shareholders are. Maybe they are. So you need to change that. That is why it's written that way. Private or public, we don't know. Because you never get a straight answer from our characters. So we've given up trying, and we just let them do what they're doing. Right. Now, these rules and regulations do not apply on man or woman, because that's on this side. Here. The rules and regulation apply on something called a person, and something else called a legal fiction, corporate entity, right? Charges apply on corporate entities only. Surrogate persons, okay? Artificial persons, companies, associations, such dead corporations, okay? Now, on the same line, you get a character called an officer. An officer is an ecclesiastical space, right? But most of our basemen call themselves officers. But they don't have a real office. I mean, they have a van that they drive around. But that's not office. He's pretending to be an officer, but he has no office. He's got a van. It's a filthy van. Right. Okay. So, boys and girls, I think that's very clear. Okay. We're going to move on to the. I think we're going to go to the. Well, we've dealt with the crown business and the Queen and Defender of the Common Law. So I won't go too much into the detail of this, right? But this is a presumption for anyone who's still caught up in the legal fiction business and still believing what I just said previously, that is the status quo. This material may be of some use to you. For us right now, we're not even seeing evil, you see, for a reason that is even this language written on this document is the language of Rome. Most of it, you see. So we don't even see this anymore. We cannot see evil. All right, you cannot see evil, hear it, or anything to do anything with it. This is life here, life. Right. Now when these characters come in and they flipped it around, they introduce something just the mirror image of this. All right, it's a mirror image. Right. So I'm saying to you, you cannot get involved in this stuff. You know, all the contracts written in the language of evil belong to evil. So you need to bring your contracts to life and be lawful, okay? Not so much illegal. So I hope you got that. If that makes sense to you, I'm not going to read this. I'm going to leave it there. If you need to get information out of it, just pause it. But I'd say that you need to also do your own research as far as references are concerned, because of the fact that they keep changing statutes and things. We don't do statutes anymore because they keep changing, and you need to be up to date if you're going to play the game with the little boys in the grey suits pretending to be lawyers. Those characters. Okay, so I hope you got that. Now, Crown Agency, if you can get that, I hope it's clear. Crown Agency is what we've used for a few number of years and dealt with things effectively, because you'll find that if we accept the supposition that I'm talking about the crown, the first crown, not the second crown, the lawful crown, not the legal crown. If you accept the constitutionality of the crown, then they should be able to protect the people, because that's what it's there for. So when somebody claims to be a crown agent, right, it's a requirement of law that they show proof of such claim. All right? So anytime somebody approaches you and says they're an agent of the crown, and they're acting on behalf of the crown, so much that if they do cause you any harm, injury, or loss, you can sue the crown because they are attached to the crown in that sense, then yeah, go on, do business with them. However, if someone alleges to be a crown agent and you don't do your homework and you don't check whether or not they are, if they do you harm or injury, the crown is not liable for that, because these people are not crown agents. Right? Now, this is a sweet one here. This one here, the Crown Proceedings Act, 1947. Unless they changed it in the last 3 years, this one is what we use in court. Right? So, for instance, somebody claims to be an agent of the Crown. Then, as per the Crown Proceedings Act, 1947, and you put in the relevant section, please give the court proof that you are a Crown agent. Then I'll pay you whatever money you want. And if you don't prove that you're a Crown agent, then you're going to have to pay me some money for making false claims and give me a hard time, almost give me a heart attack, and taking me to court. And yet you knew all the time that you weren't a Crown agent and you're trying to scam me. You little son of a... Yes, you know. So it's ABC with these boys. Alright? A good book to read is the 1885 A.V. Dicey, The Law of the Constitution. It's all in there. So once you read this book, then you understand the Constitution. Life gets easier. Okay? Right. Proceedings in rem. Oh, before I get to proceedings in rhyme, sorry, we're gonna do the other crown, second crown. All right. So the second crown is that corporation. Okay. Now with the corporations, you need to understand also in this divisibility, there is, where are we here? When this character here is acting, this character here is got a duty, right? Or when a legal fiction character is acting as a constable, then he has a duty, an obligation to arrest anyone who breaches the peace, or the queen's peace, as they put it. So he doesn't have a choice. It's not up to him. As soon as he sees anyone breaching the peace, he jumps on it and deals with it, right? And if he stands there and observes that and does nothing about it, then is liable in tort of neglect of duty, because he's taken an oath before Almighty God Himself that he's going to protect some people. Okay, so he cannot stand there with his hands folded while something happens. Okay, now with this character here, it's the same character, but he's got two roles. So his second role, he can pretend to be an officer, and here is where we have something called a power. Okay, duty and a power. The difference between a duty and a power is this: the duty, the guy has to arrest anyone and everyone who breaches the peace, causes a disruption, or does a fraud, is a breach of the peace. Okay, this character here, this is discretionary. Powers are always discretionary. He doesn't have to use them, but he does. Why? Because we are serving someone called ISIS. Okay? So here, on the lawful side, is for protection of the people and the communities. On the legal side, is serving ISIS. Okay? That's the difference. So powers are discretionary. So when you see in your literature or your paperwork and they talk about power as opposed to duty, that's the difference. All right. What else we got? So yeah, I hope that makes sense. So I'm just gonna let it sit there for a while. If you can see it, you can see it. If you don't get it, you can pause it. Yeah, right. Says the, I can't pronounce this crap. Says Tui Qui V Act 1950. No, 1540. 1950. 1540, right? Now, yeah, I'm not going to read it. I'll leave it there and you can see that. But the point is, a long time ago, some people decided to create a private bank to run the countries and the whole world together. So it's a bank that's running everything. Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to do the proceedings in